All right, so we are back to 14.1, fitting exponential functions to data. So we're given a table of values to record the population of the United States for the years 1790 to 1890, and we're asked to create an exponential model. It's going to give us a hint as to what function we should use to kind of graph this data. So the first thing we're going to do is you'll notice that we don't have a zero value in our years. We actually start with 1790. So what we're going to do is kind of rewrite some of these x values. So imagine 1790 is the beginning, so it's going to be about 0. And the next term, since it's 1790 to 1800, it's about a 10-year difference. The next value would be 10, and it just keeps going up. 0, 10, 10 plus 10 is 20. Adding another 10 would be 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. And these numbers just mean the number of years after 1790. So here we're going to fill in our sentence starter. It says, so if x is the number of decades after 1790, that means the value of x equals 0, sorry about that, is a. So our initial population in 1790 is this value right here. That's our initial population, right? Which is about 29,214. So that's going to be our a value. So moving right along, that would be our a value. So f of x equals, I know it's a pretty long number to write out, but let's go ahead and take the time to do so. And now all we have to do is find our b value, which is how much it's growing. And there's a way in the textbook that they kind of go over how to find this. And what they do is, one way to estimate growth factor b, which is what we need to finish out our model, is to find the population ratios from decade to decade and average them. So meaning, let's say for this one, from about 1800 to 1790, we have a value of about 5 million and some change, divided by, that's what that line means, 3,929,214. So if we divided this out, go ahead and take some time to divide that one out right now. That would be about 1.35. Now the only thing is, this is just one ratio, right? We're going to need to find ratio for these two, the ratio for these two. So essentially I'm asking you to do a couple of division problems. So if you can do those right now, you'll notice I did the first one for you, but we're going to have to do at least one. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 division problems, all where we're putting this number first to be divided by the number that precedes it. So if you can do those right now, what we're going to do is we're going to add up all those values that we found here and find the average of them by dividing by 10, since we're doing 10 problems. So if you did all 10, that would be about 1.36, 1.33, 1.33, another 1.33, 1.36, 1.36, 1.23, 1.30, and about 1.26. So we're going to add up all these values and find the average, which means we're going to add all those up and divide by 10. So go ahead and try that out right now. And you should have found that that would be a b value of 1.32. So let's go ahead and write our model, just so that we can, instead of writing all of the this very large number, we can write this in the millions. so that we can round 3,929,214 to about 3.93 million. And our B value was about 1.32. Okay. Now on the next slide, they do graph this line for us, which is kind of a good fit. You can see some points are a little off, but for the most part, it kind of follows that trend. Now I know what you're thinking, Mrs. A, do I have to do like 10 division problems and then find the average to find my B value for every one of these problems? Is there not a shorter way? Yes, there is. And then we're going to go over that. So this is kind of the long way, a lot of calculation to do just to find our B value, but there is a shortcut. So what we're going to do is we are going to choose another way to estimate our B value is to choose a point other than 0a, which is our initial value from the scatter plot above. So here, since we do have that scatter plot available, we can pick a point like 8. Right? So this is in decades. This is the 8th decade at about this value here. And I'll go ahead and look at our graph, our table of values to see exactly what that value would be for the 8th decade. So looking back, that would be 0 decades, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, which is 8 decades, which would be about 38.5 million. So that would be about 38.5. So we're going to use that value for X and Y. So that's 8 and 38.5 for X and Y. So here is our Y value, our A value, and our X value. Our Y value would be 38.5. Our X value would be 8. And then our A value, our initial, was 3.93. Okay, so let's go ahead and work this out. What's the opposite of multiplying? Dividing, right? So let's go ahead and divide both sides by that and go ahead and take some time to calculate that out. And this would be about 9.79 equals b to the 8th power. And what is, and the way we could get rid of this is by, we could 8th root both sides. Or one student even said we could even do, instead of rooting, we could raise 8 to the, what's the reciprocal of 8 over 1? 1 over 8, right? So we could do the same thing, 9.79 to the 1/8 power, whichever is more convenient on our Desmos calculator. And I'll show you how to do that, so that way you can figure out, well, how would I calculate this out if I don't have a graphing calculator at home? So on our Desmos calculator, this would be about 9.79 to the 1/8 power, which is about 1.32. And for those of you who are curious about, well, can I still 8th root it? Well, let's see if we get the same amount. So, oh, let's keep that there. Let's see if we do get the same amount. So I'm going to use this function key. I'm going to write 8 here and 9.79. And I do end up with the same amount. So whether I kind of solve it out this way or this way, I'm still going to get the same amount. So let's go ahead and record that here. So that would be about 1.329, which isn't that far off from what we originally got using the averaging. So we could use either one. On part B, so here we're given movies. It says the table shows decline in weekly box office revenue, so the amount of money from its peak of one of 2013's top grossing summer films. So opening weekend, they always make the most money, and then as time goes on, they make less and less, right? So here we're going to find the value of A in this exponential function. And it says when x is equal to 0, f of x, the partner, would be about 95.3, which means that our a value is 95.3. Now what we're going to do is find an estimate for b, and I know there's two ways we can do this. We can find the average. We can divide each one of these, right? You do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 division problems, and then find the average of all of those. We could definitely do that. It's one of the ways they ask us to do that, and they're nice and they find out the first, second, third, and fourth for us. So they find this one, this one, this one, and this one, and we're only left with finding the division problems for these right here. So let's take some time to work that out. 8.8 divided by 4.8 and 4.8 divided by 3.3 and 3.3 divided by 1.9, 1.9 divided by 1.1, and 1.1 divided by 0.6. So let's go ahead and work out each one of those. Since they did find 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 division problems, and we'll figure out what our b value is. So take some time, work those out. So that would be about 0.55 plus 0.69 plus 0.58 plus 0.58 plus 0.55. Now if we added these up and divided by 9, take some time to calculate that out. That would be about 0.58, which means our exponential model would be 95.3 times 0.58 to the x power. So let's go ahead and graph these out. That would be 0. And I see some of the values don't actually have a value, so let's go ahead and plug some of those in right now. Okay. Alright, so that'd be 0 and about 95, 1 and 55, 2 and 23, 23, 3 and 16. Okay, let me see if I can get back that last dot. 4 and about 8. You can see it's a steady decline. 5 and about 4.8. 6 about 3.3. 7 1.9. So it's getting lower and lower progressively. 8 1.1, and then last but not least 9. So you'll see that slope is a steady slope going down to the point where they just won't show it anymore, right? So go ahead and take the time right now in your packet to do the Explain 1, which has to do with fisheries, and we're given another table to go ahead and find not just our a value, but also estimating out our b value for our exponential function. And then don't forget to write that all together once you find your a value and your b value, and of course to graph it. Okay? I'll see you on the next video.